everyone, and welcome back at it again with another episode of the Playlist Shuffle podcast. What you thought this was? We finally made it, folks. We made it to the end of season 3, the end of our Attack on Titans season edition. I know it's been a wild ride, but I tell you, this is not the last of Attack on Titans music that you hear on this podcast. I assure you that there's a whole bunch of more music, whole bunch of soundtracks that we still got to go through. But I'm gonna spare y'all for now. But we are gonna end this season on a banger, and I promise you, it's a banger, all right. But we're gonna end this season because by the time of this recording, I'm going to be going on a couple of trips. One being, I'm going back to LA for another Guild of Music Supervisors conference. If you haven't checked out the episode that I put out for last year's conference, please check that out. It's a full recap of my experience from my point of view. It is the Guild of Music Supervisors conference, the 8th annual conference. It's on Spotify and YouTube. Please check it out. Enjoy the experience, especially meeting the music department of the video game League of Legends, who also worked on the Netflix adaptation series Arcane League of Legends. Cannot wait what this conference has in store. I don't know. I'm in the dark until I get there. But all right, we're going to focus on this song made for a certain character of Attack on Titans. Now imagine in season 3, a new character has entered the battlefield. Only he's not fighting Titans. He is a skilled assassin who kills people. So skilled that his name is told as an urban legend. While this very man is walking within the shadows of the freaking town. Do you know how serious you gotta be to be walking amongst people, the same people who talks about your name as an urban legend? They said you don't exist. That's because when people do find out that you're real, they actually don't. Because you were on the hit list. This assassin goes by the name of Kenny. Now, I want you to remember that name, Kenny, because there is so much more as not only a character, but as far as his theme song goes. And I'm going to explain that name. Be sure to stick around to the end of the episode to find out just exactly what I found out about how Kenny's name was used on this soundtrack. Now let's dive on in to the score version of the one and only Kenny Ackerman. We'll be right back, folks. That track felt different. What's amazing for me is that I didn't even listen to this track until maybe a month or two ago at the time of this recording. That's because for most of the time I spent was listening to the lyrical version of this theme song, which we're going to listen to after this. And I remember hearing this score. This score comes in at the first episode of season 3 and then plays over into the second episode because the second episode, that's when things really get active. So let me explain. After season 2, season 3 starts off with the King of the Walls decided to hire a proxy king, a fake king, and the cabinet to subjugate the scouts as basically enemy of the state because they wanted to capture Aaron and Historia. Historia is the rightful heir to the actual king. she's the bastard child. And Eren, they wanted to use his abilities. So in the first episode, the scouts are transporting Eren and Historia in a wagon through town, and they're doing this in secret, or they're trying to do it in secret. Levi and the rest of his team are hiding on the rooftops of buildings and making sure that everything goes to as planned. But the wagon gets blocked on the street because it's crowded and full of people. And Levi is trying to figure out if this was supposed to be normal or not. And then he asks one of his comrades sitting next to him, Nifa. He asks her, "Hey, you ever heard of Kenny the Ripper?" And if that sounds familiar to anybody, Kenny's character is inspired by Jack the Ripper. And she says, "Oh yeah, that killer? That's supposed to be like an urban legend or something." And then Levi goes, "What if I told you that I personally know him and I've actually lived with him at one point in my life?" And then Nifa is like, Okay, Captain, please. This is no time for jokes. Seriously, stay focused." Next thing you know, Kenny just waltzed onto the rooftop silently. Nifa didn't realize, but Levi caught wind of him, and he was like, "Oh crap, Nifa!" And before Nifa could turn around, Kenny points his pistol at Nifa and starts blasting. R.I.P. to Nifa, because I don't think she ever really got to find out that Kenny was real at that point. And so Kenny is just casually walking off the rooftop going like, "Yo, Levi." And that's how you know this character is nothing to play with. When a character goes, "Yo, Levi," after he kills someone and just leaves the body like right there, yeah, he's crazy. He goes, "Yo, Levi, have you grown a bit? Or is you still a runt?" And I was like, wow. And so this dude uses his ODM gear, flips himself in the air, goes Yahoo! And he looks at Levi square in the face and goes, "Nope, you still a runt." By the way, if you don't know Levi is just as much of a killer as Kenny is. This is the first time we ever see Levi feeling small, just because of the last 5-minute encounter of the very first episode of season 3, because Kenny just casually made Levi feel smaller than he physically already is. So it's a great job giving us an audience this thrill that, oh my gosh, can Levi be actually beat? He's killed so many titans, but when it comes to this person named Kenny, how is he going to square up with him? Because Kenny is not afraid of Levi whatsoever. And to add salt to that, Levi feels triggered seeing this dude. Levi is not an emotional person, but he just gets ready to pounce. You just see his all emotional and angry, and he does that famous line at the end. And then the episode ends. What an entrance. What an interaction. Just building up Kenny for this moment. And so as we cross over to episode 2, we see Kenny's full squad pop up out of nowhere, surrounding Levi's team and wiping them out. Just on sight. One shot, boom. One shot, headshot, boom. Make their head rock. And so they're chasing Levi in this awesome chase scene while going after Eren and Historia in the wagon. They kill the scout that's driving the wagon, and they take the wagon over and they tranquilize both Eren and Historia. So while that's going on, this is when you hear the score playing in almost in its entirety. Like at the beginning, when you hear that weird distorted strings. The guitars go absolutely crazy in here. All the strings do in the score. And then you hear like these taiko like drums that, and then the choir in the background. But when you listen to the score itself, you may realize that like around 2 minutes and 15 seconds, it seems to repeat again from what you heard in the beginning, but it's a little slower. The strings of the violin, all eerie and stuff. The production of this music, it gives you this dystopian Western-like feel. That's because that's basically Kenny's character. He's wearing like this, almost like a cowboy hat. He's wearing these boots. I mean, I don't even know if he's wearing any spurs on the boots, but every time I see him and I see him walking, it's like I can hear the spurs ringing on his boot, like out of a spaghetti western or something, a Quentin Tarantino film. That's the nature and the inspiration of Kenny's character. He is the captain of the MP Anti-Personnel Control Squad. To sum up his backstory real quick, well, of all people, Kenny got caught by the king of the walls at the time, who was King Yuri. While the king decided to spare Kenny, the king's brother, Rod, wanted to actually kill Kenny. But Yuri decided to show mercy and hired Kenny as his bodyguard and serve his family. And so Kenny did, and from that point on, he did what Kenny does, and he tried to learn the information about the royal family and the use of Titan powers. It was at this point Kenny wanted to feel what it was like to be basically a god, because he sees the actions of the royal family and how they're passing their Titan powers to their heirs. But later in point in time, he founded the MP Anti-Personnel Control, basically a splinter group of the military police within the wall. So that's the story and the inspiration of Kenny's character and his score. So I've basically summed it up a bit, but I didn't do it justice compared to the actual lyrical song, and we're about to dive into it right now. And I told you it was going to be a banger. Now you get to experience it. Let's dive on in. You see, when I told you that I spent a lot of time listening to this song, that I didn't even know that the score version even existed, this is why. Out of all the music, you let me know in the comments on Spotify or YouTube when this airs out. The last thing you would probably expect from Attack on Titans was a little bit of hip-hop. Tiny sprinkle of hip-hop. I'm just going to go over a few verses here. You realize the arrangement of the song, that it's more upbeat. While it's a little eerie, it's thrilling, but it's more hip-hop inspired. Instead of like the orchestral taiko drum, you get an actual drum kit. You get the same gritty guitar, the distorted synth, the upbeat jam. You hear that guitar now. So the first verse, it goes, "Spill guts and glory, urban legend, I am that story." See, urban legend. It's the killer captain, MP Anti-Personnel Control, and I'm out of your control. I just do what I know, do it better than anyone I know. Let my body count speak for me. If Kenny was in the booth recording this song, it would have made so much sense. That's exactly what I said when I first heard the song and put two and two together and was like, oh, this song is for Kenny. I'm thinking to myself, did the voice actor of Kenny rap to this song? Is he a rapper? Because honestly, if it was Kenny in the booth or not, it'll be no different. This is Kenny's thesis. Call it that. The first verse is Kenny's thesis. And the rest of the song is his supporting detail. Urban legend, I am that story. You know how cold you gotta be to refer to yourself as an urban legend, but you still exist? I mean, people are talking his name, or almost like that urban legend of Krampus. If you're a bad kid and you don't make Santa's good list, Krampus is gonna come in and give you a piece of coal. This is like Kenny. It's the killer captain, NP anti-personnel control. He is the captain of the NP anti-personnel control, the military police anti-personnel control. And I'm out of your control. Yeah, he's hired by the royal family, but Kenny does what Kenny wants to do. I just do what I know, do it better than anyone I know. Hell, I could do this better than Levi. Let my body count speak for me. Look at all the dead bodies. Moving on. I see where puzzle pieces fit and got the ear of royalty from a royal bloodline, strong as identity, underground survivor, know how to stay alive, murder urban legend, knife to the throat with no hesitation, quick cuts and keep moving. So in Kenny's backstory, while he was avoiding the Ackerman purge, he was living in the underground. It's like a poor part of the town. Just trying to make ends meet, just trying to survive. And that's where he finds his sister, who was also living underground and serving the streets. You know what I mean. And where Kenny finds Levi as a child. All of them were living underground, trying to survive the street. And Kenny did it by, the thrill of the kill. And so he taught Levi the thrill of the kill. Knife to the throat with no hesitation, quick cuts and keep moving. Self-explanatory. Draw no attention while I work up front in the background. Never one to back down. Move up and keep using. Need godlike power to be better than me. Better to be a better me. I kill for that. Elite and loyal squad. Willing to back any play that I make. Spill a whole lot of blood if that's what it takes to save lives, take lives. Simply prioritize. Got goals to achieve, now open your eyes, see past the lies. Ooh. By the way, this song was composed by the composer Hiroyuki Sawano, but the lyrics were written by and performed by David Whitaker. Boy, that boy crazy. That boy David, he crazy. That one line stuck out to me. Better to be a better me. No cap on that line. Better to be a better me. Oh, that goes hard the more you say that. Let's play it like a blood sport. Fight for your life or die is your choice. Sometimes it capture and kill. Squash the dissenting elements. Torture the enemy just for the hell of it. Tell me to care, but I just can't. My patience for this has gone dark. After patience, then the fun starts. The knives and guns come out. The option for living is getting revoked. My squad may leave you broken, but maybe me that slits your throat like a sheep or a goat. Remorse. The course of action is merely a byproduct of my focus. The closer I get, the more I'm willing to go beast mode. David didn't have to go hard like that. Then again, Kenny didn't give him a choice. And then after this verse coming up, then it repeats again. But this last verse before the repeat goes, spill guts and glory. Gory as it gets, I am that story. Woo! Can godlike power make me a better me? I just want to see it. So you see how much he keeps mentioning godlike powers. It's because this is addressing Kenny's curiosity about the power of the Titans. Seeing how the royal family utilizes this power and knowing what the founding Titan power is, he refers to it as God. And he can't help but to wonder if he would have control of that power. Would it make him better? Would it make him stronger? So many questions that he has, he sort of reveals that when after Yuri dies, and now Rod Rice is in power, the brother, Kenny is now Rod's bodyguard, and he's tasked to capture Eren and Historia. And when he does, he takes them both to the chapel that's run by the royal family, and in the basement is where they use their Titan powers and have that power move from one wielder to the air. Kenny wants to witness the potential transfer of power because Eren not only has the attack Titan, but he also has the founding power as well, which is why Rod wanted Eren so that Rod can turn his bastard daughter Historia into a Titan so that she can eat Eren and have the founding Titan power. Wow, she could have been an attack Titan too. Oof. That never hit my mind till now. That's crazy. So Kenny wants to witness that, but it never happened. The scouts managed to save Eren and Historia and managed to fight off Kenny and his squad. Rod turns himself into a Titan instead because Historia refused to turn herself into a Titan. Levi gave Kenny a killing blow, a slice to his gut, and Kenny bounced to the outside while his whole squad got basically squished because Rod's Titan was so big the whole place caved in. So when Levi finds Kenny dying outside by a tree, Kenny revealed that he had a spare needle that he could inject himself with Titan serum and turn himself into a Titan. But then he decided not to. And he gave the serum to Levi. And he revealed to Levi that, yeah, I'm your uncle. I left you when you was a kid after I taught you everything because I was not ready to be a dad. And man's passed away. That was the legend of Kenny Ackerman. This song is just addressing Kenny as a person and his legacy and his life and his attributes, his skills, all that stuff. This is just describing him, period. Solely to the point where it's like I said before, if this was Kenny in the booth spitting bars like this, I would have said it made sense. Credit to David Whitaker. Shout out to him. He did a phenomenal job with this, with writing these lyrics and performing them. He did a great job given the interpretation of Kenny's character. Okay. So like I said, I told you to stick around to the end of the episode to tell you, to share with you what I discovered about how Kenny's name was utilized on this soundtrack. I'm talking about the title. And get ready, folks, because I'm not the brightest, the most intelligent person, okay? But I feel accomplished knowing that I cracked this code. So watch this, folks. So the score title is called K2-. And the lyrical version, that title is called K21. So all this time I'm trying to figure out what the title is trying to tell me. So I read the letter K and I said, okay, that's Kenny, obviously. But what was the point of adding the number 2, the number 1, and then the dash? One night I was in the shower, and you know, your thoughts can run so much when you're in the shower or when you're going to bed. But when I was in the shower, hearing this song, and I'm thinking about the title of these tracks, and then it finally hit me. The letter K does not specifically mean Kenny. It does not translate to Kenny. I remember learning Japanese, the basics of Japanese language. I finally started reading the numbers in Japanese. Watch this. The letter K translates to ke, K-E. The number 2 translates in Japanese as ni, N-I. Put 2 and 2 together, you get ke-ni. Normally, the one translates as the dash mark in Japanese. The dash in Japanese translates to the number 1. Ichi. So what does that mean? Well, honestly, in Japanese, whenever you see a dash, it usually elongs the word that comes before it. Remember when I said earlier, Levi goes, Kenny! He says it just like that. He elonged the name Kenny. So instead of Kenny, it's Kenny! That's what the dash is for. At least I assume. But, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Playlist Shuffle Podcast. This has been your boy, Jay Malley. Thank you for sticking around for Season 3 Attack on Titans edition of the Playlist Shuffle Podcast. Y'all not... Damn it, y'all gonna give me an A+ in Japanese for figuring this out in the shower on my own. Shout out to Hiroyuki Sawano, one of the best composers I've ever experienced and listened to. Shout out to David Whitaker, Mika Kobayashi, and Kota Yamamoto, all the music department within the Attack on Titans franchise. Shout out to every one of y'all. Kenny, K2, Kenny, stop playing with me. Give me that A+. Like I said, it's been your boy Jay Malley of the Playlist Shuffle Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our social medias. Follow us on Instagram, the Playlist Shuffle Podcast. Check out our TikTok, JMalley_guy. Check out our YouTube page, Playlist Shuffle Podcast. Good night. Good night, y'all. Stop playing with me.